Yellow Deem. So if you just went on a rainbow scavenger hunt outside, we just finished ours and I wanted to come back and show you the different things that I found. So I tried to show you on the video, but I know it's really hard to see. I'm so sorry, guys. This is my sheet with all my tally marks that I made next to what we found. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph it out so I can see which color we found the most of today and which color we found the least of and which color we found the same amounts of. Okay, so most means that it was the largest number, and least is the smallest number. And then the same is that if there are two things that had the same amount. So we're going to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a graph. Now I can do this. I'm just taking a different piece of paper. I'm turning around. So I guess you could just do it. I guess I could just use the same graph. But you know what? I'm going to fix that blue because my printer was out of ink, if you remember. So I'm going to fix that blue so it's no longer pink and make it a real blue. Okay. And then, so now I fixed it, so it's blue. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my marks, and I'm going to start with red. With red, I as an example, when I was showing you guys, I made 2 tally marks, but I'm not counting those because I didn't really find those things. So I made 1, 2 marks, 2 tally marks. So I'm going to take my red marker, or you can use a crayon, and you can either make 2 squares going up, or maybe 2 circles or 2 triangles, whatever you want, but just try to make them the same size, okay? So I'm going to do 1, 2. Okay. So I made 2 red squares by my red because I found 2 of them. Next, my orange. How many marks did I make for orange? 1, that's right. So I'm going to take my orange marker, and this time I'm only going to make 1 square. And I'm going to start at the bottom just right next to my first red square so that they're lined up. Okay, because this way, if they're all lined up, we can tell which one had the most or least easiest by seeing which line is the biggest. Now, there are all types of graphs you can make. You can also maybe use grid paper to do that. This might be a little easier. Now, there's yellow. And how many marks did I put on yellow? 2. So I have to do another 2 for yellow. So I'm going to do 1. And again, I'm starting at the bottom. 2. And then I have green. Oh my gosh, look how many green I found. It's because there's green grass, there are green leaves, there were green stems, there were lots of green things. So I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green things. So I can put 1. Remember to start at the bottom just like I did with all the others, okay? 2. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now I'm going to go on to my blue, which looks pink on here, and I found 1 blue, which was the sky. You know, later on, after I was done playing with it, after we were done with the scavenger hunt, we actually found 2 different blue flowers. And I was like, oh, if only we're still doing the scavenger hunt. So I did 1 blue square. Okay, next color is purple. How many purples did I find? 1, 2, 3. So now I'm going to do 3 purple squares. 1, 2. Remember to keep your squares the same size. You also could count this out. It might be easier to do with Legos or blocks if you have different colored blocks or balls, and get that many blocks or balls and line them up. It might be easy to do it that way, because I know sometimes it's hard for me to make these shapes all the same size, so it can be tricky to understand. So maybe lining up the balls might be easier. Now pink. I found 1, 2 pinks. So I'm going to do my 2 pink squares. Okay, moving on. Brown. How many did I find in brown? 1. Found 1 brown thing. There are probably more out there. I just marked down 1. I'm doing 1 brown square. And then black. How many black things did I find? 1. That was that really dark soil. And Chase Man actually put gray on his because he found that soil. I think I tried to show you in the video. I don't know if it came out. But that was really dry. So it wasn't such a dark black. It was actually pretty gray. And then, how many white things did I find? I found a couple of white flowers too. So I found 1, 2 whites. Now for white, you can't color with white and see it on here. So I'm just going to use my black box and leave it open. Okay? So here is my graph, okay, of all of the colors of things that I found. Now, if you notice, you can tell which one I found the most of by which line is the tallest. So which of these colors has the tallest line? Which one is the highest up? Can you take a guess? What color do you think I found the most of? That's right. If you guessed green, you're right. I found 5 greens. That was the color I found the most of. Now, can you see there are a couple of them? Which color did I find the least of? Which one of these colors has the shortest line? There are lots of them. Take a look. The good news is I found something in every color. Maybe you have on your scavenger hunt, maybe there's some that you didn't find any of that color. So that would be the one with the least. On mine, there are several. So if you guessed or said orange, there's 1 on orange, 1 blue, 1 brown, and 1 black. Those all have the least amount. I found the least amount of things outside for orange, blue, brown, and black. And since they all have 1, they all have the same amount. Another word that we use for saying the same is equal. They all have equal amounts. Now, there are the next least amount after that. So for those colors, I only found 1. The next highest, I found 2 of. Which ones did I find 2 of? Can you take a look? That's right, I found 2 whites, 2 pinks, and 2 yellows, and 2 reds. Now, so green had the most, brown, black, orange, and blue had the least, and after green, which one had the next amount that was almost the most? The second amount, the highest second amount, the next tallest after the green is what color? If you guys said the purple, you'd be right. So the purple, I had 1, 2, 3. So green had more because it had 5, and purple had the next amount, which was 3. Do you know how many more did the green have than the purple? That's pretty tricky. So there were 5 green and 3 purple. How many more was the green than the purple? So purple had 1, 2, 3. So this was where purple stops, right? At the 3 mark. So how many extra does green have than purple? Let's count. 1, 2. If you said that green had 2 more, you were right. Yes, so that is how you could graph out your colors. Another way you could do a graph is you could have your numbers on the side. This might be easier. And you could either write your numbers if you know how to write your numbers, or you could have mommy and daddy help you. And you could start with 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however high up you need to go. And then you would take your color. And so for red, I found 2. So I would take my red and I would draw it all the way up to 2 and then stop. Okay. And then for my orange, I only found 1. So I would take my orange and draw it up to 1 and then stop. And then for yellow, I have 2. So I draw it just like the red, up to 2, and then stop. And for green, I had 5, so I would draw that one all the way up to 5, and then stop. This one might be easier just because then your shapes are, you don't have to worry about your shapes being the same size, but the tricky thing is it's nice to be able to count the different number of shapes that you have. But there are lots of ways that you can make graphs, and you could also line it up. So let's see. I could do 5 green pieces. And let's see, hold on guys, I wasn't prepared for this. And then I could compare it to the 2 yellows that I found, and the 1 orange, and the 1 blue. So you could line it up like this, and that's a good way. If you have objects at home in those colors, you can find those objects and count them, and that's another way you could figure it out or line it up. It doesn't have to be a graph on paper. It could be a graph with things on the ground or on your table. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. I had such a fun time on the rainbow scavenger hunt, and I hope you did too. Okay, Yellow Dean, that's all for today. Shalom.